Good morning, West Coast. Good afternoon, Midwest and the East Coast. This is Vladis Kavikas with RealtyProx, and welcome to our webinar. And as it is customary now, every second Tuesday we have Lee Honish with us again, and this is a Marketing Tuesday with Lee Honish. So just say hi, Lee.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Okay, so as always, Lee is going to be our big icing on the cake. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give a little bit of an actual cake first. So that is a little overview of RealtyProx, and then Lee has a lot of new stuff for you to share with you. So once again, thank you for being on this webinar. In terms of questions and policies, is everything the same as usual? You have your questions section on the right hand. On your control panel of GoToMeeting control panel, so you can start typing your questions right now or a little later. Whenever you have one, you can start typing it, and we will take questions at the end of the webinar. So feel free to do it now or later. It's up to you. Don't forget your questions. So first of all, for those of you who are new, who are not RealtyProx users, who came from Lee's invitation or found us somehow, I'm glad you're here. A little bit about RealtyProx. So RealtyProx is a transaction management software. It's a free software, and it's mainly meant to handle your short sales at the moment. So at the time when some of the other transaction management platforms are actually moving away from short sales, we're still very much strong. We're getting a lot of deals every day. We're processing a lot of transactions every day, and we don't think we're going to stop handling short sales anytime soon, and I'm sure Lee's going to have something to say about it as well. On top of being transaction management software, which is the only enterprise-level transaction management software in terms of short sales, we also have our sister company, which is National Closing Center. So for all of you who are not big fans of negotiating, processing short sales, RealtyProx is a good place to start, because once you sign up on deal-by-deal basis, on listing-by-listing basis, you can click the red magic button that says Request a Processor, and you can request a processor from the National Closing Center that's going to process your short sale for you. However, RealtyProx is going to still be the platform that's going to distribute all the information. So it's really not that much to learn. There's almost no learning curve here. You just sign up. You complete 5 steps. Some of them are not even real steps. Some of them involve literally just clicking buttons, and then you can get started, and you can have somebody knowledgeable, somebody skilled to process short sales for you. But that doesn't mean we remove you out of the equation. Quite the opposite. You will be consulted with. You will get all the information. The process is transparent. So I encourage you to, if you don't have an account yet, go to RealtyProx.com, get your free account. There's a lot of extras, a lot of add-ons, a lot of tools that we add pretty much on a weekly or monthly basis. And again, everything is completely free. So with that having said, let me transfer all the controls to Lee Honish, and he's going to talk about marketing and a lot of other things I'm sure he has prepared for you today.
Actually, I prepared a brand new presentation for everybody. It'll be the one I'm doing for the next couple of days. I'm doing 3 webinars this week. This one, I'm doing one on Wednesday, of course, for my regular coaching group, and I'm doing one for something called REO Partners at the end of the week on Thursday. So I'm a busy guy this week. So welcome everybody. First time, long time, new time, whatever it is, coaching students, whomever. For those of you that are new to this call, I am going to do this as a CDAT certification process as well. If you hear me step away from the phone just like this, it's me looking at the time, because I think your time is actually that valuable. I'm not going to use any of the gimmicky. For those of you who've never been on a webinar with me before, I don't do the gimmicky, sticky, okay, I want you all to raise your hands. How much of you like money? I'm going to go fast. I realize that there's going to be a lot of slides, and I'm going to cover a lot of material. I am a huge believer in content. This is one of those moments. And I want to get back to the core basics of why I think you should all be working on short sales. That's why you guys are on this call. I'm not making any bones about it. If you don't want to do anything with short sales, this is not your call. You should jump off right now. I'm here to talk about getting new listings with short sales. I'm here to talk about certifying you as homeowner advocates so you can go work with people and do short sale listings. I believe it is the only market available for a real estate agent, and I'm going to prove that out with this presentation. I'm also going to certify you. I'm also going to talk about marketing. I'm going to do a lot of things I haven't done on previous calls. I know that I've done one other certification with this call, so I'm covering all of it with this one call. So how many of you like money? I mean, let's see a round of applause. Raise your hands. No, sorry. I just like doing that because I know you guys have been on those webinars, and I think they're ridiculous. I think your time is valuable, and that's why I'm about to do this. And it's me basically prepping you for about the slides you're about to do. I've been working on this for about 24 hours, so it's brand new. So if there are mistakes, I apologize. I was home watching my daughter yesterday who was out of school with a cold. And that's the great advantage to my job. It's the great advantage to your job. You have the ability to make time for your family on top of being able to help people. So with all of that said, I know that I'm going to fly through these pretty fast. So when I send some, we're hoping that this session is being recorded. We've had issues over the past couple of weeks with some of these not recording. Hopefully that this is the one that works. I'm trying to remain incredibly optimistic. So welcome to Short Sales Are Easy. So the question is, why are they so hard, and how do I get new listings doing short sales? That's the idea behind this presentation. For those of you who are brand new and never seen me present, my name is Lee Honish. I am the former head loss mitigator for IndyMac Bank's HELOC division, and you are looking at my resume. If you have any, I want you to write down two things. If you write down nothing else, I will try to get some screenshots and send those along with an email afterwards. Hopefully this records and you'll be able to have a video, but I want you to write down honish.com, and I want you to write down my email at lee.honish@yahoo.com. It's really important, lee.honish@yahoo.com. If you need anything after this presentation or otherwise, you can email me at lee.honish@yahoo.com. Well, how come it's not lee@honish.com? Because Yahoo and Gmail accounts seem to talk to Yahoo and Gmail accounts better. That's my experience. My job right now is as a professional speaker. I work as an advocate, doing marketing and consulting for companies. At this point, I have been doing it since 2007. I've done over 20,000 hours of live presentations. I've been in front of over 50,000 real estate professionals live, and I've currently been viewed well over 1 million times on the World Wide Web. That's since 2007. Before that, I worked as an asset manager for IndyMac Bank. I've worked as a professional developer. I've worked as an asset manager for GMAC Homecomings, and I've worked for an asset manager doing beneficials REO liquidation dating back all the way to just being out of high school. That's over 22 years experience in this line of work. I have now been a professional speaker, trainer, advocate, marketer for the last 6 or 7 years, going on close to 7 years now. It's about 6 and change. And I wouldn't change a thing. My college degree and background is in technology and psychology, which I think makes me akinly attuned to working with real estate agents. With all that being said, I am happy to present this material. If you do have questions, go ahead and type them as we go along. I can't get to them while I'm doing it because I can't see the questions, but at the end, I will leave space, as I check time, to make sure. I'm going to fly through these slides because I have 45 minutes. After that, we will answer questions until they're all answered. But these 45 minutes are all going to be slides, and I'm going to hopefully burn through all of them. So the question is, what is your current belief on the market? I'm hoping since you're on the call, you believe that there has to be a different way to view this market at this moment. The question is, can you succeed in the current market? Is your goal to help families, in the process help your own family? The question that I often get is, why do agents avoid short sales? And there are only two reasons. One, you don't believe that you can convert people away from believing they're going to get a loan mod, or you believe that they're too hard to process. I'm going to cover both myths. Can you handle more listings? Some people can. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but most agents only average about 6 listings. So why do agents burn out from short sales? Why is everybody so happy to believe that short sales are over? Why do they keep moving away from short sales? It's pretty simple. Agents believe that they're on the cutting edge, and you're marketed to by other people in my business to what's next. Well, what's next is short sales again. We had a summer off from doing short sales, and now we're back to doing short sales again. And the bottom line is this: did you know that the top agents have short sales in their portfolio? I mean, that's real simple. The top 20% have short sales in their portfolios, and you've got to keep that in mind. So what's the current market conditions? It's really simple. Is the market really improving? Who's saying the market better? Let's think about these two questions for a quick second. Is the market really improving? Well, in some markets it is. In some markets it isn't. There are still foreclosures in some. There are not in others. Who's saying the market is better? People who want you to keep working. I mean, that's the bottom line. They either want you working their way, or like the National Association, they just want you working, period. So if the market's improved and there are equity listings, it seems better all the way around. So the question you should have in your mind, and probably one of the reasons you're on this call, is what is the truth? At the first quarter of last year, I started putting together a series of articles where I had made a very bold prediction in the first quarter of this year. I said that the improvement that we had seen towards the end of last year and going into this year was temporary, and it was actually built on a platform that was not real. I have done this by doing extensive studies, my years of working at a bank, and I made a very bold prediction for what would happen before the end of summer. I said it would stall, and then towards the end of the year it would crash. For those of you who don't believe me, when you go to honish.com and click on Market Crash, there's a countdown clock that will give you that information. So let's cover it from the beginning. Let me check my time and make sure everything's okay. Sorry, it was on a different screen. Okay, so I had made this prediction and people said, nah, you're crazy. I can't tell you how much hate mail that I got. I currently have an email list that I send out to on a regular basis of close to 15,000 real estate agents. And I lost a lot of people off of that list because they didn't want to believe the story that I was telling them. This isn't my story. This is news reports and me being a banker and looking at a trend. That's what I'm paid to do as an asset manager. It's to be with the trend. So the first thing that happened was QE3. For those of you who don't know, it's a bond buyback program that actually created the original bubble. There was an inventory update towards the end of the year on shadow inventory. They said it had dropped, but it still had 2.2 million units left, and at the rate, they've only been selling off about 300,000 per year. They're slowly selling those back to stabilize the market. There are still close to 2 million properties within the REO shadow inventory market. Housing starts fell right after the first quarter going into the summer, which makes no sense. For all of you who have heard to the contrary, this is CNN. Okay, these aren't articles that I wrote. These are national articles that I wrote, and I had to keep looking at all of these things. And that's from the banking news. DS News reported that price gains were too rapid, that we were creating their own bubble. Again, DS News reported from Radar Logic that there were forces driving up the value of property, but the prices were and are going to be temporary. Then this article came out around April or May that I found interesting going into summer, that 61% of renters are delaying home ownership. And if you look, 56% spend less than $1,000 on rent. I don't know what house you can buy, and I don't know what interest rate you can get, even with Tier 1 credit. But the percentage of people who can really afford something that's worthwhile is in the 24% range, 1,000. They always say this, renters are buying more homes. That's a big myth that happens within the industry. Going into the summer, those numbers had dropped dramatically. Renters were delaying home ownership. Shadow inventory was still on the rise in May, and they were still fearful of that. There were reports coming out of Freddie and Fannie that they were going to revert back and not accelerate prices up, that they were going to look at last year's prices. Then this happened, and we all know this. The interest rates started to climb, right? So mortgage applications started to drop. The first article started in about May or June. Foreclosure activity continued to spike through May and June. Zillow wrote an article about a depletion in inventory of almost 12% over the year. And of course, when you drop the rates and you're not putting properties on the market, it can happen. Mortgage applications continued to drop into June and July. It didn't change. This happened all summer, whether or not you wanted to believe it or not. And this is what slowed buying. Shadow inventory remained up in July. And these are just facts. It's U.S. News. These are not articles I wrote. And then the very chilling frost of Wells and Chase starting to note that the interest rates were going up and that there was a decrease in people purchasing new mortgages. Sales of single-family homes fell in July, the lowest they had been annually. UPI reported again that mortgage activity had dropped and interest rates were on the again rise. And my friends over at RealtyProx had reported about the number of zombie foreclosures, basically properties that were foreclosed with either people inside or empty houses where they didn't even know they had been foreclosed upon. I can't tell you how many homeowners I have personally talked to where they don't believe that they're even in default when in fact their house has actually been foreclosed upon. They don't know what to do with the inventory. They don't know how to leak it back onto the market. So if you think that this is a stable market that's created a base where you can go and do equity, that was this summer. It happened. Then we all saw it. It was on the front page of not only the layoff article that I printed here, which is BS News, but it was on the front page of the Wall Street Journal where 2,800 employees got laid off. Banks started to lay off originators and executives because nobody generated new loans. The market didn't work the way they had expected. Whoever they are, right? The forces that be that control whether or not inventory comes back online, those that control whether or not the rates go up and down. It had a negative effect, and in fact, it created more unemployment because of it. And then this article, this is just 2 days ago. The LA Times has reported that in most of the Southern California markets, they've now seen it go flat for 2 straight months. That's incredible. LA, the Southern California LA market is one of those markets that appreciates no matter what. So you can believe what you want from that information. You can say I'm spinning a tale to, sell my story. That is certainly the way the internet works. I'm sure I can pick and choose whatever articles I read, but I type the same 3 comments in every day. Real estate news, real estate values, interest rates. And these are the stories that have come up. And I'm telling you, before the end of the year, we're going to see prices start to revert, which is starting to happen. They're happy that prices have stopped increasing. So that means we're back to doing short sales again, that homeowners aren't going to have the option. And there's a simple reason. It's there's no other way to create inventory for you as a real estate professional. I don't care if you're an investor on this call. How do you create the inventory? So why short sales are not over. I'm going to teach you exactly how money works, why money works, and it's very simple. It's a book called Modern Money Mechanics by the Federal Reserve. In it, it outlines the idea of the concept of fractional banking. Fractional banking is very simple. The U.S. government creates a bond, and this goes back to QE3, where the Fed is actually buying back bonds. But what the federal government does is they create bonds, right? And this is what's happening right now. They're buying bonds from the U.S., and they're generating more money. It's called a bond buyback program. This is how they generate new money. It's been going on, and they're talking about not doing it, which will freeze the economy even more. So the Federal Reserve will create $10 billion, and then they will transfer the money to a bank, right? 97% of all money in the United States is digital. The bank will then take the $10 billion and transfer it to their reserve. Once it's transferred in, you would think that the logical thing is, now that I have $10 billion in reserve, I can then lend out $10 billion. But thanks to the extraordinary book, Modern Money Mechanics, a bank only has to carry 10% in its reserve. Every banker knows this. Every asset manager knows this. This is why banks go out of business. It is because of their reserve level or physical cash on hand. You only have to carry a 10% natural reserve per the law of owning a bank. So if I open Bob's Bank, all I have to do is carry 10% of whatever I say I have on the books. The $9 billion is considered excess of the original $10 billion, and it's called the expansion of the money supply. Ultimately, it will expand up to 9 times to $90 billion, and that's how money increases. That's how values increase. But if we're not buying back bonds and we're not putting money onto the market and we're not lending money, then we can't expand the money supply, and therefore the economy becomes stagnant. 9 times any deposit into a bank basically can be created from nothing. I'm going to cheat that off. So it's basically a shell game. They just keep sending it down and down and down from, bigger depositories to smaller depositories. And it also creates more debt within the economy. What's a leveling off period? We saw it with real estate, right? We create these bubbles where we accelerate the value of money and the value on houses. You have to have a tangible good for that money. If all of you are scratching your heads going, I don't understand any of that, what does all that mean? It means that we're still, even at the best case scenario, we're at a point, let's say we're at the bottom officially, which doesn't make sense because there's still about 2 million properties in serious delinquency. Collectively, that's 90 days forward. There are 2 million properties in actual shadow inventory. It'll be about 1.9. That's what they'll report at the end of the year, but approximately 2 million. All of those properties need to be liquidated for real estate to be stable. Agents went away from short sales when the news came in. The interest rates, when property values started to accelerate. Why? Because we limited the number of properties going onto the market. But new home people saw this. The bank saw this. They did not believe that this was real. They stopped production of new houses. They stopped putting REOs on the market. And worse, interest rates went up over the summer. There's no secret to why the market stalled. The trick was to see it at the beginning of the year, and I was laughed at. I was literally ridiculed by real estate agents on emails every time I sent out one of those articles. You don't know what you're talking about. And I keep saying this, before the end of the year, and we've seen it in some markets already, we're going to go backwards, which means that there are 2 million people out there who believe that they're going to get a loan mod or trying to wait out the storm until the market corrects itself. The bare minimum for short sales is 5 years, bare minimum. And that's if this is a true bottom and they start liquidating properties. But they're not. Okay, this is a big control game of trying to stabilize the U.S. economy and the national debt, which has increased. I need to update these, but if you look at the new U.S. debt, we've increased it exponentially over the last term of our president. So how does a short sale really work? There are only 3 things you need to be aware of. The value, which is fair market value, which is very hard to dictate these days. The offer, that's a positive net return for the bank instead of foreclosing. And the HUD, right? It's your job not to let the bank dictate their return. If this turns pro-bank again, which fortunately right now it's pro-agent, so it's a great advantage for people to get involved, you can move forward. But you've got to know what you're doing, because if it becomes pro-bank again, then they will dictate the numbers. So does the bank know the value? This is the one I get all the time. It's going back to HomePath, it's doing this, it's doing that. It's not really true. The bank absolutely knows the value. They do appraisals, BPOs, and AVMs on every single one of the property. They take the AVM, they'll do slope curves to project the value forward for 6 months. And some of you have gotten this email, and I've also gotten it. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have said that they're going to revert to last summer's projections. So you take a slope curve based on that analysis and you project backwards on where it's going to go. And they figure out and they project where the value is going to go. You project the value. That's why I always think it's interesting when real estate agents do, broker price opinions or marketing analysis, and they don't project the value for 6 months. You have to, because that's the way the bank is looking at it. If I take this property back, am I going to be able to sell it back via REO for 6 months to a year? That is how a bank does it. Banks will always exaggerate the value of a property for a larger net return, always. Sometimes in the case of HomePath, as some people have run into, Maybe it's for inventory for your program, so you have affordable housing for certain markets. That's very true too. But they will exaggerate the value, and don't ever believe that the bank doesn't know the actual value of the property. It comes to a term called minimum acceptable net proceeds. It was a term that came from HAFA, actually, but it's a bottom line. The numbers are the numbers. It's an old banking term that I used to use in many of my seminars. So what does it mean? The banks know within 45 to 60 days of your actual submission, 30 to 45 days, somewhere in that range, whether or not they're taking your deal, right? Yeah. That's reality. They've run the numbers. They've gotten the value back. Minimum acceptable net proceeds, that's a tongue twister. It's not hard. They have calculators. What you're looking at is the original IndyMac calculations, which are also the countrywide. That's a Chase calculation sheet, and that is a Wells Fargo worksheet. I have all three of these at disposal, and I actually give my coaching students these. You don't really need to worry about it right now. For the investors that are on the call, I can see how that would be a valuable tool, perhaps to have the confidence. But right now, the banks are doing short sales. It's pro-agent. They need short sales. And if you're having problems or you're hung up with any of these terms that I'm saying, you need to hire National Closing Center. You need to hire RealtyProx. I'm going to make a push for it anyway. I don't think anybody should be mitigating their own file, period. I don't think it's of value to you. I think it's a waste of your good energy to do any of this work that you're looking at on the screen and understand any of this. So what have you been taught to expect with short sales? That you have a fiduciary relationship with the bank, which is a lie, straight up, okay? That you're well, if it's still happening to you, that's a lie, and you should hire, by the way, both of these so far, you should hire a mitigator. You will lose some of your commission, possibly even less than 5%. You can't have both ends of the deal. Again, lies. That if I buy a fancy designation, I'll get faster service or preferential treatment with the lenders, or if I buy this service, their system will put me at the front of the line. Again, not true at all. Your client will not receive full release of liability and could have a deficiency or an unsecured note on the balance. Again, a lie, and if that's happening to you, you should hire a mitigator. But the banks would rather foreclose than do a short sale. In the case of HomePath, I started to believe that for a short period of time last year. I don't believe it right now at all. We are in a pro-agent, pro-sales mode with the banks. They want to do short sales right now. It is a very opportunistic moment. My personal favorite, what the banks are telling you and the other real estate agents is the truth, and that you'll go to jail or lose your license if you don't comply with the demands, the guidelines, rules, and imaginary laws of the bank and the DRE. If you're an investor, you're allowed to make money. If you're an agent, you're allowed to make 6%. If you're a homeowner, you actually get cash back these days. I'm telling you, a year ago, you would have believed differently. 2 years ago, you would have believed you were going to jail. 3 years ago, you would believe anything that a bank would tell you. I'm telling you right now that mitigation companies, investors, and agents are making full commissions. They're making their payoffs. There's never been a period like this for doing short sales. It is so pro-agent to get people back involved that what you'll see towards the end of the year as prices start to stop swelling out of control and start to revert back. Again, I have predicted now for almost going on 6 months straight that this is going to happen. That you'll see that the banks are going to become very pro-short sale, and that will be the projected news, and agents will migrate back to short sales because of it. And then it will become pro-bank again. Once they get you all in the front doors, they will change the rules, which means now more than ever you should hiring a mitigator that you're confident and comfortable with. I need you to keep an open mind for what I'm about to cover next. I really can't stress this. You need to learn to be nice to banks, to mitigators, to people in this industry, because it's the only business in town. You need to stop making your short sale transactions personal. Nobody knows you. It's one file. I can't tell you how many emails I get per day with people who tell me, how they hate the bank people and how they hate what they're doing. Okay, that's great. That's why people burn out. You make it personal. You need to have a can-do attitude about doing short sales, okay? You need to believe you can get them. You need to believe you can do them. You've got to hire a mitigator. You've got to go do marketing every day. And you've got to be a rainmaker. There are some people who can't handle that. You are not accustomed to having more than a few listings per year. It's the reality. The first thing you need to do is hire a mitigator and get RealtyProx. That's the bottom line. Okay, that just has to happen. You need transactional software to process your short sales. You need to hire a national closing center to process your short sales. That's it. Bottom line. Remove all the nightmare of what I just laid out for you. Number two, you need to get short sale listings. That's it. Your job for the rest of the year going into Christmas, if you want to have money to provide for your family at the end of the year and going into next summer. Summer is always our hottest period, and this was our coldest summer ever, period. Sure, prices went up, but what did that do for you personally? How many listings did you have? I know that short sale agents that I coach and that I work with were able to get listings all summer. And now coming out of the end of the year, they are the ones that are positioned within their market to be in front of the market. So, I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you and I'm reading this and I'm looking at this, and I want you to really ask yourself a hard question. Do you have enough listings? People always tell me, I never have enough listings. The reality is most real estate agents don't get a lot of listings in their beliefs. In fact, the philosophy on how it's all done, if 100 names were bought, how many calls should I expect? And some of you, I want to pose that question to everybody in the call. How many should I expect? If I got 100 names from RealtyTrack of people who needed to do a short sale that are working on their delusional loan mods, and I sent them a postcard, or I called them up on the phone, or I knocked on 100 doors without announcing myself, how many responses should I get? Well, if I'm lucky, I would get one. Truthfully, what people will tell you from a marketing perspective is you need 1,000 before you can get any kind of response. But let's just say it's one. What I want to cover next is that you can do it by just contacting 10 homeowners, okay? To do that, you do need to be an advocate, and you do need to understand it. First, it starts with data, direct marketing. You create a web presence. You're an advocate. You follow up. The problem is simply this. Real estate agents believe in being average. That's just the reality. To stand out and not be average is very difficult in this day and age. So what does that really mean? What is an average agent? It's over the age of 55 with at least 10 years of real estate experience. They hate buyers. They hate short sales. They want REO listings. The one that blows me away is that they do 6 listings per year. And the average income of an agent is about $30,000 to $36,000 a year. It's a part-time job. 6 listings, it's a half listing per month. It's an extremely sad trend that 80% of the agents look to be average, that they only want 6 listings. Going to work is a clubhouse. I don't know how you can be a real estate agent and have a day job. God bless you for doing it. I mean, seriously. But if you dedicated yourself to real estate for 3 to 6 months and build up your inventory, you can get as many listings as you want. And it's really simple. Homeowner advocate leads to new listings, especially in this current market, especially with what it is. So what is a default advocate? That's the certification I'm going to give you. At 31 days at 5 p.m., real property goes into default. Okay? Until the property cures or title is transferred, the property will remain in default. A default advocate is someone who knows how to work with homeowners and properties and has many options for them after they miss that first payment, or until they pay a current or pay it off or the title is transferred. That's it. That's the bottom line. And that's about what I'm about to certify you in. So what's your role as a realtor? This is the one that really blows me away. The bottom line is the code of ethics for being a realtor is not how well you sell. And you guys have a reputation that is astonishingly bad with homeowners. In fact, the first phone call that a homeowner will make when they go into default is to a bank. Then they'll call a lawyer. Then they might call a CPA. Then they might ask their best friends for a referral to get to a real estate agent. Instead of positioning yourselves as what a realtor should be, and that's to protect and promote the interests of your client. That's it. And we've gotten away from this. We've literally gotten away from the pledge of the Code of Ethics from being a realtor to the point where you are thought of on the same level as a used car salesman. And I'm being brutally honest about this. If a realtor showed up at your door to talk to you about your house, how quick before you throw them out? It's a pretty simple question. So who do you represent in the transaction? You represent the seller. Seller owns the property. Bank owns the note on the house. The note is a lien on the property. The agent works for the seller, not the bank. And the bank, seller and the bank have an adversarial relationship, and they have opposite interests. Your job is to protect the seller, not protect your commission and not protect the bank. I want to make it very clear. That's what an advocate does. So what are your alternatives to foreclosure? A homeowner can do a deed in lieu. They can do a short sale, and they can do bankruptcy. The reason we're on this call is because we want them to do the short sale. In fact, the banks want them to do a short sale. I know that many of you think that this whole thing is, you can't get a short sale listing because the homeowner believes that they will get a loan modification from the bank, which is not true. They get a trial loan modification, they get foreclosed upon, and that's what the numbers indicate. Your job is to explain that to them. So what qualifies for a short sale? Honestly, I always say this because they want to do one. But there are 3 reasons to have a hardship, and that's monetary, relocation, divorce. When you're talking to them, that's it. I'm behind on my payments because of money, or I'm relocating, or I'm getting divorced. That's it. Don't overcomplicate this. And this is the same for even current properties. As long as I have one of these 3 pillars in place, I can get a short sale approved with any bank in my hardship when I explain it to them. So what about deficiency judgments, liens, and government programs? It's a very good question. If you do not know how the bank handles their loss personally, you're in violation of your fiduciary duty. And again, hire a mitigator to protect you and to protect your client. Cash contributions and promissory notes can happen if you're not diligent and you violated your fiduciary responsibility. Again, that can happen. The Mortgage Debt Relief Act, which was created in 2007, which basically is a complete forgiveness, is supposed to end at the end of the year, and I'm saying it definitively. It's going to be extended again. They have to at this point, no question. You need to know how deficiencies on HELOCs work. HELOCs are home equity lines of credit, and I know this as the former head loss mitigator for IndyMac Bank's HELOC division. I didn't even know until I had our attorneys review it, and this is back in 2006 when the first short sales came across. I didn't know that they were credit cards and that I could collect on them like a credit card, that it didn't have to be securitized by the property, that even if the first went to sale, I could still hire a third-party collection company. Of course they're going to want more. Of course they can play harder ball. Vlad knows this. National Closing Center knows this. When there's a HELOC involved, you have to be more aggressive. You need to know about 1099 forms, 1099A and 1099C, and what those really mean. And Form 982 of the IRS, which for most cases beyond the Mortgage Debt Relief Act, were not to be extended, which is what I taught back in 2007. Form 982 for a homeowner out of their 1099s. Checking my time, good. 1099 and 1099A and 1099C. 1099A is the one that is given after a foreclosure, right? If a property goes to sale, goes to foreclosure sale, they'll get a 1099A, which is abandonment of debt. It's statistically 10 to 20% higher than even a 1099C. If a property goes to sale, they will get a 1099C. Unfortunately, it's a forgivable tax event on a 1099C. Simple as that. The Mortgage Debt Relief Act was created by George W. Bush back in 2007. It's currently good till the end of 2013. I believe that it'll be loaded up again. I believe it will be extended. The vast majority of people you work with, and one of the reasons you can talk to homeowners at the door with confidence, is that it will more than likely be extended again, and they'll probably load it up with more things like HARP and things of that nature. The last time around in 2012, they loaded it with HARP and the loan modification program. But fortunately, there were some good minds in Washington that realized that this had to be passed because we'd still be doing short sales. The biggest fear for a homeowner not to do a short sale is based on their credit. There are a lot of people who do not understand this. Short sales are not difficult to understand. Short sales from a homeowner perspective are frightening, and it's because of this. They believe it's going to have a negative effect on their credit, which is not true. No matter what, they'll drop off in 2 years. Right now, as it stands, FHA has released a 1 year after short sale. Conventional lending is 2 years after short sale. For those that are just underwater, homeowners that are just underwater and want to do what in the business is called the strategic default, right? So you're working on someone who's not behind on their payments, want to do into the house next door and lower their payments. And there are now lenders that will do 1 day after short sales. It's the continuous late payments that destroy somebody's credit. But there's no magic bullet or formula for determining how the FICO score really works out. But the bottom line, it's much better than a foreclosure. It's important to have a good credit company. It's important to have informative staff. It's a big deal with my coaching students that we provide solid credit counseling so that they can give that to their clients. We have experts on all the time about mitigation. The reason I bring that up, you need to know all this before you walk to the door. At least you think you do. Homeowners aren't even going to ask about this stuff when you work on getting new listings. I know today's about marketing, but that was the setup to get you to here. This is about doing direct marketing. This is it. This is my basic formula. Number one, you need good data. Number two, you need a marketing piece. I prefer that marketing piece be what's called permission-based marketing because you have a higher chance and a higher conversion rate and people are more willing to talk to you. You need face-to-face time at the door. You need to have at least 90 seconds so that you have a chance. So you can be an advocate, not a salesperson. After the 90 seconds, you want to connect. And I always tell my coaching students, shut your mouth and ask them to tell them their story and let them talk for the next hour and a half. Then you want to follow up with them, and then you want to bring them back into your office where you can be a realtor again and put them under contract. If this is too daunting for you, I would recommend dropping off the call right now. The previous stuff is really just me certifying you as advocates. I think you need that background. I think you need that education. I'm going to cover more of it because it comes into play when you talk about helping people at the door. But if you aren't interested, this is another great jumping off point. Because there are two things you need to do in my opinion. Number one, you need to stop mitigating files. In fact, every slide I just showed you doesn't matter if you hired a mitigator. They will take care of that. The second thing is you need to focus primarily on just going to the door and doing this list that you see on the screen. The reason I'm taking so long here is this is the one you should be writing down. This is the formula that I currently coach now close to 400 real estate agents that are in my personal coaching program. And they are at the top in their market. They're a very tight-knit group. They aren't big fans of giving out testimonials or talking about my product, although they will tell you that it does work. They will not tell you exactly where they are because they believe they don't want competition from other people using my services. I always laugh at that, and I tell them that they have to give me testimonials and that they have to work with other people because that's what an advocate does, and that's what they do. In fact, my agents will let you call them up and talk to them. You can find them on Facebook. They talk about my product constantly and the way that I teach this. We're a very open group, but originally, because of that old school mentality of I don't want anybody else competing in my market, it happens. I'm a big believer in a different way of life. I think you educate other agents. I think you educate homeowners. I think you help people. And in return, by helping people, you help yourself and you help your family. I'm not a charity. You're not a charity. We get paid for what we do, ultimately. But we're built on the backbone and the platform of helping people. That is what a realtor is. That's what an advocate is. So here's the truth. And this is why I think it's funny. There are only 3 things that a homeowner is going to say at the door, period. Not even the only things that will come up if you do it my way. Number 1, I have a loan mod, I'm doing a loan mod, I want a loan mod, I'm getting a loan mod, I have a magic package of beans that I'm going to plant in the backyard. It will sprout a beanstalk. I will climb up that beanstalk, and I will find a magic loan mod that will help me stay in my house. Great. Number 2, how'd you get my information? This is why 99% of marketing that you've been trained by brokers and other teachers fails. People want to know how you found their information. The reason most people don't teach short sales is because they don't know how to get around this one item. Direct marketing, spam marketing, where you're doing postcards and phone calls and knocking on doors and reading scripts and doing repetitive models, doesn't allow someone to select you as their agent, to select you as their advocate. And to do that, you need to understand that, much like you'd want to know how somebody knew that you were in default, how they get your information. And the one that I'm always fascinated with, the I want to live here forever scenario. This is great. People actually think that they own their homes. I want you to think about this for a minute. Everybody on the call, we've got a full room today. How many of you think you own your home? Now, I'm going to look at the numbers. Okay, we have a full room. Based on my thought process, there's maybe 5% of you that really own your home. Same way with your car. If you're making payments somewhere, you don't own it. Bottom line, you don't own it. You have an agreement to make payments on it. It's as simple as that. So when people say they want to live there forever, that's crazy. You don't own the house. You're not going to make payments on this for the next 30 years. Even if you do a loan mod, statistically, we all know this because our trainers taught us this. People buy 5 to 7 houses in their lifetime. Come on. Again, very simplistic, but we get away from it constantly. There we go. So we're going to cover contact listing next. And then we'll go back and we'll talk. I'll show you the exact funnel. I always like covering conversions first. Be yourself. All right, that's, if I can give one key that I think everybody gets away, be yourself. Be someone that you would talk to at a kitchen table. Doesn't matter who it is. There are points to bring up when you meet people face-to-face. First time you meet a homeowner, whatever type of marketing, and I'm going to show you some options for marketing in just a second. When you meet them for the first time, you let them know you did this for them. You went through the trouble to assist them and help that homeowner. Let them know that you're not doing this for any money. That's correct. When you do a short sale or assistance like this, number one, they're in default. You can't accept money directly from them. Number two, you get paid out of the bank proceeds, so you're not getting paid. There's nothing more powerful than taking money off the table. I help people all the time. I will take money from people that are current, that is legal and justifiable for trying to do things, but do not take money from people who cannot afford it, who are not making their payments. It's illegal in every single state on a level that I can't even express. You're an advocate who helps homeowners. Yeah, always tell them. All of you on this call will get the CDAT certification. You'll get the certificate. In many of my students' packages that they go to the door with, they bring a copy of their certificate, which you will all have access to. You are not there for a listing. You are at their door to educate them. In the first 90 seconds, you're just trying to build credibility so that they will tell you their story. You understand that they are interested in a loan modification, and you're just educating them on the process. That's great. When you go to the door and you tell them they've got a sale date, simple as this. You go to the door, I'm getting a loan mod, I'm not in default. Well, you have a sale date, or you have an auction date, or you have a loss pendants. Hey, let's just call the bank together. Maybe it's wrong. This is public data. Right? Let's just call the bank and ask them. It'll take a couple of minutes, and then if it's that way, then I'll get you to a credit guy to help clean it up, or you can have a. So here's how I directly market to make that happen. You want to use any form of public data. That means NOD, notice of sale, expired, canceled, divorce, probate, what I call MLS purchase data, like Red Axe. I like LATES. Any of these things work when you're trying to put together, but it's got to be public, so I can explain it. Where did you get this information? Here's how I got this information. So you need a direct marketing piece. There are only 3 marketing pieces, to my knowledge, that are permission-based. Permission-based marketing is the homeowner asking you for help and not you spamming. What's spamming? A billboard, a commercial on TV. In fact, the last article I just released is about real estate agents doing more marketing online and getting away from billboards and magazines because they don't have a high return. You pay a lot of money for a very low return. So magazines, billboards, door knockings, postcards, direct mail pieces, auto dialers with scripted sequences. If they work for you, fantastic. I'm just telling you the fastest route is to use one of these three pieces where the homeowner selects you. Okay, the first one is a FedEx envelope. The second is a file folder, and the third is my own personal product called the Monster. The Monster is a direct marketing piece that I created based on this concept. The FedEx and the file folder have close to a 10% response rate. That's higher than using, it's like 5 to 10%. It's a 5 to 10% result with a FedEx or a file folder. The Monster averages right around 40 to 60%. I generally try to tell people to expect 20%, under promise, over deliver kind of thing. That's how it works. So if I go out to 18 houses, let's put it into a number. So if I get a 20 houses based on my permission marketing attempt, right, where I want them to contact me, and I use a FedEx or a file folder method, and I put 20 of them up, I should expect about one of them to contact me. If I put together a compelling package about loan modifications, how I got their information, and a genuine effort of trying to help them. I don't knock on the door. I leave it in a FedEx or a file folder. If I use the Monster and I put 20 of them up, I would say that the bare minimum of what you should expect is 4 to 6 homeowners contacting you. And you will go meet with them face-to-face in both of these cases. So what I'm about to teach you is probably better than what you're using right now at a lower output level. Of course, if you want to use the Monster, it's got the highest output level. That's why I have so many students who still use it and attend every single one of my calls. Number one, you need the data. Number two, you need the marketing piece. A FedEx file folder is exactly what it appears to be. It's a FedEx file folder. The second is a file folder. Both of these have open rates. The FedEx actually, with people that are in default, like they've missed payments, has a lower response rate. It's a 5%. People will throw that away. A file folder left on the front door or in the screen, if it's in a path where they will see it, has a little bit of a higher response rate. It's closer to the 10% marking, and that's why I say it varies a little bit. Because the file folder is already open, it will get opened, it will get looked at from a response rate perspective. And the third is my Monster marketing system, where I know for a fact that when I put it in place, not sort of, I put 20 of these up, I'm going to get 46 responses. I'm going to go see 46 homeowners every single time. So 3 is delivery of the marketing piece. It needs to be simple. Number 4, you need to always squeeze data when you talk to a homeowner. What does that mean? I go to their door, but I also have their cell phone and I have their email address. You want to go to the door and you want to do what I call deliver, which is give to get. What am I giving to get? I'm taking a loan mod book. I'm taking information about loan mods. I'm taking rip-off reports. Right now, my people are doing email funnel lines, and they're in the HEART program. So you have about 90 seconds at the front door to explain to them why you're there. That's why we covered it. And then 91 seconds to 90 minutes, I say, is always your goal. Let them go for an hour and a half. Just ask them their situation. When you do the web, it is really simple. All of this stuff you see that I've put up on the screen are places where you should have your message, because the minute you leave that front door, they're going to go research you online. I'm going to give all this to you. It's called the Vortex. I will send that over in an email later on today. It is free on my website, all of the places that you need to connect. I know that there are people who will charge up to $4,000 to set these things up for you. I think that's crazy. I think it's a couple of hours worth of work to create an online profile. I take it step by step. I call it the Vortex. It is the quickest, fastest way to get an online presence, because you and I both know this. Everybody's going to go online and do research about you the minute you walk away from their front door. Because basically, you're selling help. You can sell help. Ultimately, you need to follow up. Okay, I always tell people, what are you doing to educate one person per day? You need to touch them 5 to 10 times. For those of you that have taken marketing classes, we all know this is a truism. You've got to touch them multiple times to get them to respond. So you want to contact your local libraries and possibly get space. You can do informational gatherings with homeowners in multiple fashions. You can use Slidial and MailChimp and gather and keep testimonials and relationship and keep reinforcing the message. The easiest way to do it is with any meeting and free conference call. And again, creating your own online communities. Yelp right now is huge. Yelp is good for about one listing per week, but it's creating that presence online, doing the follow-up, Slidial, going to their voicemail, reminding them, MailChimp, send them an email, create a drip campaign. You've gone to the trouble of getting all this information, and ultimately that will lead you to new customers. I've created a formula to get listings. Again, data, with a good marketing piece, the monster, the FedEx folder, squeeze the data. I don't care what it is. When you talk to them on the phone, make sure to get your cell phone and a daytime phone number the first time they call in. The monster does it automatically, so on monster usage, you always get that kind of feedback. You want to follow up before you go to their home. Make sure they're there. Set an appointment. Keep an appointment. Go to their home. Give them something. Your web marketing and agent referrals can lead back into that. You follow up with them again. Then you bring them either back to the home or office, and you can then be an agent and then follow up. Again, this isn't hard. This really isn't. What is the monster? The monster is the highest response rate product that is guaranteed to get results. It's the only product that I know of that is guaranteed to get results. It is a multi-use delivery platform. You can use any real estate data source as long as it's public. It has a simple delivery system. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to do it. In fact, I'm hiring a guy today after I get off this call to go put up my marketing pieces at about $1 per drop. And it's expensive in my universe. It's a very simple delivery, system. You don't even have to hire a delivery person. If you have the time, go put out 20 marketing pieces yourself. It has a simple squeeze of data so that every time you use it, you're going to get their cell phone and their email. It's permission-based, invitation by homeowner, which means they're going to call you and set an appointment with you to come to their house with a simple presentation and conversion to listing, which we also cover and do weekly coaching about. Each monster marketing piece costs pennies. It takes to get to about 20 to 25 homes takes about 1 hour. To go put that many marketing pieces up if you're doing it yourself or having someone do it for you. You never have to make contact with the homeowner until you're invited to their house. So there's no, spam marketing. You don't need to learn a script. You just go put the marketing piece into place, and it will go into this pattern. The piece is permission-based and will generate a phone call for your assistance. With the 1 hour of delivery done on Mondays, you will generate about 4 to 9 visits throughout the week. Simple as that. It's really simple. So I generally like RealtyTrack to get my data for the NODs, less pendencies, auction dates for short sales, right? You can use alternative data sources. Sorry about that. I was checking the time. I see that we're running over. I need to finish up. You can also use alternative data sources. We are now doing expired packages and cancels and divorces, probates. Expireds are the very popular one right now. It does have a simple squeeze of data, which means I'm going to get their cell phone number and their email address. Why? So I can follow up with them constantly. And then I'm going to have a better chance at the door with this response rate. Why? The homeowner is going to be expecting me because they set the appointment. The homeowner is not negative at the door. We get 5 times longer at the door than any other marketing piece. The homeowner, they respond, they're receptive. I'm not going to say that they're not going to say they're doing a loan mod. Why else would it be in my presentation? I didn't say that they weren't going to be closed-minded. I just said that I'm going to arm you with the ability to convert that loan mod into a short sale. I actually had somebody ask for a refund the other day. They were in front of over 20 homeowners over the course of a couple of weeks. And they wanted a refund from me for the monster because they didn't want to give them the short sale when they went to the door. I make this really clear. Nobody converts at the door to a listing. Nobody. I've heard stories. I've heard one story about one person who did it once in their 25 career. You are never going to convert somebody on first meeting at the door, short sale or otherwise, to a listing. I don't care the marketing piece. You can plant the seeds, you can follow up, and you can get the listing, but You do it based on referral. I'm giving you the best chance possible. There is no script that will get you a listing first time at the door. You can convince them, you can get them back to the office on your second or third trip, they will do the listing. You will build your credibility, you will follow up, you can send them stuff, you can create a drip line. And I don't care who it is, and I don't care what they tell you, and I don't care what price they tell you. There is nobody that you can just walk up to, meeting for the very first time, face-to-face, where they're going to sign their house over to you. I can do it in 2, I can do it in 3, I can do it in 4, and I know I can do it in 5. And the idea is to create that environment. It's touches. How many times do you touch them and how do you follow up? All of that is included as part of that. Again, it's really simple. Any data source, simple delivery system that anybody can do. Or you can hire somebody at $1 a piece. I think it comes out to about $10 an hour. You want to get the data out of them. You want to stick to permission-based environments, and you want to have a simple presentation so that you can convert them to listings. There are 2 things that I want to talk about that I have available. One is in Pasadena, California. You can go to the listing solution.eventbrite.com. $40 event, 1-day training. We'll do CDAT certification. I'm going to have a bunch of people that I put together personally. You can send an email to lee.honish@yahoo.com, and I will send you a link to this if you want to go. Write that down, lee.honish@yahoo.com, or the listing solution.eventbrite.com, and you can register right now to go to that event. Pasadena, California, September 24th, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're going to go till about 5, and then at 6 we're going to do networking. If you're in Southern California, this is the next big short sale training event that I know of. Simple. And for those of you that are interested, the monster costs $1,297. Make no excuse about it. But as I do for these calls, I always do right after my webinar and during the webinar, $697 pricing for Vlad and RealtyProx, so people can have this product. It is a money-back guarantee. You can send me an email at lee.honish@yahoo.com, and I will send you a link for $697 that will be good till 5 p.m. Pacific time. That's 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I will get you hooked up and on the monster today. You'll get a startup call with Diana. She'll walk you through the process. You will get a weekly coaching call with me, and that goes on for as long as you want to stay on the program. It's a one-time fee without monthly fees. It's $697. You can go to the website right now. It's all at $12.97. In fact, the last marketing piece that I sent out is at $12.97. So right now, go and send me an email to lee.honish@yahoo.com, and we'll get you hooked up with that price. I will send you an invoice that you can pay on PayPal, which, by the way, protects you, not me, having used them many times now. Vlad, do we have any questions?
Yes, we do. And isn't it a great presentation or what? I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that this one is being recorded. Trust me, I was screaming. I was screaming at GoToMeeting people last time. So they assured me the glitch is fixed, our account is working, and the magic is happening. So I truly think that every single person who was on this phone call, who is on this phone call, will want to rewatch this, because I was surprised, and this is a lot of new stuff. So yeah, so speaking of that, I hope this is being recorded and you guys will get the replay. Since we are in the announcements mode, I want to make one more announcement, and then we're going to go to questions. So the another announcement is Chicago event. Finally, after Lee Honish being in Orlando and, of course, in Southern California and always in Las Vegas, we're going to have an event in Chicago, October 23rd, 24th. So if you are in Chicago area, or if you are in Midwest, it's a lot easier to go to the great city of Chicago to see Lee Honish and RealtyProx instead of going to Southern California or Las Vegas. Of course, you're welcome to go to Las Vegas too. But if you're in Midwest, and we will be sending a lot of information about this, so you're pretty much the first ones to hear this publicly, that we are doing an event on short sales and listings and all of those great things that Lee is doing in conjunction with RealtyProx. And the event is going to take place in the Westin Hotel in Oak Brook. So don't complain about parking. We thought about this. This is the largest parking lot ever. because I know my Chicago people, okay? So I just moved to California. I've been in Chicago for 10 years. If you do an event downtown Chicago, people will not come, or they will come and complain about parking. So we're not doing this. We found a wonderful room in a really, really nice Westin hotel, and there is literally the mall next to it. Oak Brook Mall is next to it. So you're gonna have the entire mall parking for you. So I hope you're gonna come there and you're gonna join us for that event. So more information to come. And now let's go to the questions.
Wow, you guys all stayed on the call. And the reason I wanted to finish on time, I know many of you have time, but we're going to do questions until they're all done. I just wanted to make that clear. But I wanted to respect your time. So if you guys have to drop off, I completely understand, but I will answer everybody's questions.
Yeah, we'll get to you one way or another. So if you don't have time, don't worry. We're gonna get back to you. Lee's good when it comes to responding to emails if they're important. All right, so let's get started. Let me take this question because this is about RealtyProx and National Closing Center. Let's move on. So what is the cost of your negotiations? Normally, it's $149. I know I'm gonna have to repeat this again because it's $149 upon closing. In certain markets, it varies. We might have to have a separate agreement with you. So the best idea is to sign up for RealtyProx, which is free, and then give us a call or email us. But in most cases, it's $149 per closing. We get the rest from the bank. But again, if you're in certain areas where prices are low, some other factors, we will explain how it works. We have multiple options. We have different partners that we work with. So our goal is always for the realtor, for the listing agent, $149 per closing. If we can do it for you in your particular market or in your particular situation, let's say if you're the realtor that has a lot of short sales that have sale date in 3 days, we're probably not going to be able to do it almost for free. We're going to have some kind of funnel, some kind of system to work with you so we can postpone these short sales for you. And but our goal is free as much as possible when it comes to technology, and $149 per closing. And just sign up for RealtyProx and we'll work with you personally. All right, let's move on to questions that Lee can address. Do you have a list of asset managers? Not sure what does that exactly mean, but do you?
That's a question I get. That's a question I get all the time. The reason they want to believe that they can get REOs that way, which is funny. I don't even have that point in my seminar anymore where people believe that they can contact asset managers and get REOs. But if you go to Honish.com, click on the free marketing link, there are complete bank listings or structure. I think I have complete hierarchies for Wells, Chase, and B of A. But that's available, I think, under banks, actually. If you click on banks, I have Wells, Chase, and B of A. But a list of asset managers, let me make it very clear. You guys are not going to get REOs. You need to get that out of your head. It's now been better part of a year and a half, and there are still people who ask me for contacts of asset managers to get REO listings. It's very amusing to me, and I'm not trying to belittle the situation. I just want to make it as clear as I can. There are no REOs to be got. They become these weird little zombie things that my friends over at RealtyProx created, where people either are foreclosed upon and they don't know it, or the house is left vacant and it's been foreclosed upon. Simple as that. They will figure out some kind of solution, but they're only selling about $300,000 a year, and they're not hiring agents at the moment. That's the reason Five Star took it in the pants so bad this year out in Texas. There's no REO. There's no asset management companies. They've all gone out of business. So bottom line.
All right. Great answer. Let's move on. These days, how can you synchronize transactional funding with short sales when the banks want you to be on title for a minimum of 3 months when you want to do a back-to-back closing?
Yeah, there is a brand new program what you're talking about, transactional closing. It works the same way for non-DQ homeowner. I've been working with a guy by the name of Eric Mitchell who does the homeowner version, right? So I've got what's called a strategic default. and they do a short sale, and then one day after the short sale, they do the one day after the short sale closes, they close the deal on their new home. It increases the number of listings the agent gets, or transactions in the deal. Really, I mean, not without giving a big rub to National Closing Center. Here's the bottom line: competent mitigators can get around it right now. You're in a very weird period. If you're an investor on this call, this is literally that moment where you can go back to doing. I know for a fact in California, Behringer Escrow, who's the sponsor of my Pasadena event, they are doing. They were one of the few companies that still did concurrent closings. It's a fact. I mean, in fact, I'm bringing my friend. This sounds like a plug for Pasadena, but I'm bringing my friend Robert Fragoso to talk about working with investors, because right now in the transactional money, that's what Robert does. He lends transactional money. It can be done right now. It's been a while. Yeah, you still have to drop off the addendums. No, it doesn't work for every single bank, but it's the loosest I've ever seen it. I mean, Vlad, can you have you seen it this loose since the beginning, where it was just sort of file by file?
No, definitely not. And yeah, nothing like used to be. And it's funny that Lee brought up Behringer Escrow. They are one of our major partners in California. So it's just another proof that we are working with the best, with Lee Honish and Behringer Escrow. So if you are in California and you're using Lee's methods to get listings, and then you go to RealtyProx, and then you submit your short sale in ridiculously easy 5 steps to National Closing Center, then you will be, odds are very good, you will be working with Behringer Escrow. They are truly experts in terms of coordinating closings here and stuff like that, and getting it done. So they get short sales, we get short sales. It's a great team. So if you're California, as I said, if you're working with NCC, you'll be working with Behringer as well.
Another reason to show up in Pasadena, because they'll all be in Pasadena.
Yep, we all will be in Pasadena. And if you're in Chicago and you're probably not going to be flying to Pasadena, don't forget the Chicago event on October 21st and 24th. And let's move on. And thank you for all those questions, and thanks for staying way past 1 hour limit. When do we get the marketing piece? I'm assuming they're referring to your Monster?
If you sign up for the Monster, you will get it, because I do everything by hand. I'm not one of those, it's an automated drip system where you get an email, and then when you sign up through PayPal, once you sign up, you will get the marketing piece once I process it. I've never done this, but I'll actually explain what the process is. So I get notified by PayPal if somebody paid. That's why sometimes there's a carryover to the next day, or sometimes they're reviewing the money source. Once I'm notified that the funds are cleared, and that's not always the case. I seem to release way too early to make Diana happy. But I then put you into the system. I change you out, so you will get a different set of emails from me. Diana will issue you what's called our welcome letter. Welcome letter will have your password. You can download it immediately. Diana will then schedule a time with you to do a walkthrough. There's a video on my website that shows you how to do it. For those of you that have watched the infamous 12-minute marketing video about how to put a Monster on the house, that is how simple it is. There is no hidden secret to how the process works. We believe right now that it's not even about the marketing piece itself. It's we believe that the great success that we're having with our coaching students, and why we're so popular, or at least I'm popular at the moment, is because we focus more on getting the listing, not just getting you face-to-face time. And from those of you who go to national shows, I know CAR's coming up and ours coming up. I just went to FAR. They will get you face-to-face time. There are people who will make a lot of promises, but they will never tell you about their success on conversion. My goal is always to get the listing, not just to get you in front of a homeowner.
Very good. Thanks, Lee. A few more questions. Do you have a demo site where an individual can tool around the Monster product?
Yes. You can go to honish.com and click on the link. You're actually looking at a screenshot of that actual product right now. There's a video on there that'll show you how the Monster works. I'm pretty open about what it is and how it works. I don't actually show the marketing piece. It's not the secret. I call it the secret sauce. I think the marketing piece is very clever, but that's not what you're really buying. You're really buying an entire process that gets you to a listing. It's about the conversion. It's about the follow-up. In fact, we're going to release tomorrow, on tomorrow's coaching call, a drip campaign that one of my agents is using. He's actually getting listings via email. So he goes and he puts the monsters up, and now he's doing an email campaign to follow up. He never has to go and keep repeatedly knocking at the door. He gave us his drip campaign. That was very kind of him. That's the one thing I like about my students. They do share very well in their mastermind group. I call it a mastermind. I call them guinea pigs. I get new ideas. I give it to them. Like, we're working on expires right now. I know that that's very popular. Monster gets great results. But it's, what do we take to the door? What's the next step to get the listing? It's not about getting face-to-face. You can get face-to-face. I'm in a FedEx office, Kinko's right now. I'm face-to-face with 20 people. They don't want to hire me. I need to give them something. I need to explain to them why they need to hire me for whatever the service is.
Yes, and David, the asker is David. So David, speaking of tooling around, Lee Honish's website is a true vortex. You're gonna get sucked in. You can spend months. I don't know, and I spend a lot of time every single day on the web because that's my job. I don't know of any other website that has so much information in it. It's just if you're gonna go to Lee Honish's website, you can spend months there, and you're gonna still have some things that you missed. So in terms of the depth of the information and the amount, if after looking at all the website, all the stuff he has, you still don't feel like Monster is not for you, it's not for you. It's nobody else is so generous in terms of providing all kinds of free advice and tools and everything. So truly, for that price that Lee is giving today, it's really nothing.
Here's the funny thing about that vlog, because websites like I do. I looked at the count the other day, and I just tallied up from all the subdomains. There are over 600 pages of content. It's not filler. They're not ads. It's 600 pages of content that I've compiled. And I think the site's only been live my personal site's only been live for about 3 years. I can't get it on there quick enough almost half the time.
Yeah, that's all true. All right, a few more questions. We promise we're going to stay until we're done with all the questions. So if you guys are still here, we're going to still be here as well. How do we get information on people that may qualify for short sales and their contact information?
RealtyProx. Vlad knows him. I know him. We all know Darren. Darren is the vice president. We have a relationship with him. Again, you can send me a note at lee.honish@yahoo.com, or you can go to honish.com. Click on the free marketing section, scroll down, and read the RealtyProx article that I wrote. It'll give you the direct contact, and you can get the deal that, same deal that, it's a really good deal. I think it's $197 for the year and $19 a month. And you can get data on people that are delinquent. In fact, they're currently, I can't say officially, but they are currently working on trying to recalibrate so that they can figure out underwater homeowners as well, because of some advice we gave them. We helped them change their business model. And hopefully they're working on that, because I think that would be a great data source. I don't know if they're going to make that available or not, but I know that Darren was working on reprogramming his data to make that happen.
Yes, so Lee is true. Lee, what Lee is saying is absolutely true. We all know RealtyProx and their data, and also we don't advertise it too much, but RealtyProx also has our own little data mining arm. So if you go to and our most faithful users know that in our new dashboard, if you go to your new dashboard, once you sign up, you're going to see the button that says enroll. So if you officially enroll into the lead generation program, you're going to get some leads. And everything is really, really transparent. We're not saying these are bank leads or leads with banks, blessings, and we already talked to these homeowners, and all you have to do, go sign a contract. This is not how it works in the real world. These are about the same quality leads as RealtyProx has. They're limited to certain markets.
And it's public data.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's public data. So I'm not saying don't get RealtyTrax, get our stuff. I'm saying get both. And our stuff is free. All we've asked in return is bring those short sales to us. If it ends up to being a short sale listing, we want to process that listing. That's your thank you to us.
I would go there first. If it's available for free, take free. Because it is a public data source. That's what people won't tell you about Foreclosure Radar, RealtyTrax, CoreLogic. I mean, it's public data.
Yeah, that's what it is. There's no magic. We're not stealing this. We're not hacking into people's computers. These are public data that we're collecting, and since we are a technology company, we have somewhat limited, of course, because that's not what we do all the time. We're not RealtyTrax, but we do have some resources to get some public data, and we do check it with local MLS. So what you know for sure is that these are not listed at the moment when we assign that lead to you. So that's already done for you. We're not going to waste your time.
With RealtyTrax. Yep, that's really good.
Yep.
That's not true of RealtyTrax or Foreclosure Radar. So that's really good data.
Yeah, we will double check that for you. Somebody manually does it for you. So obviously, if you wait before you accept the lead for a week, that could change. But I can attest myself that at the time that you're being assigned the lead, somebody will check and make sure it's not listed. So that's just additional value for you guys. Next question. Do I always recommend that the homeowner remain in their default house so they can receive short sale cash back?
No. Not true. I mean, here's the thing. What's half at right now? Cash on move out right now. What, have they changed it, or is it still at $3,000? Vlad?
I'm sorry, I lost you. Say it again.
That's okay, Vlad. Right now on HAFA, on close, homeowner gets $3,000 to move or $1,500.
Definitely 3, and there's supplemental paragraphs to that could go up to 15.
Right. Okay. So here's the thing. Again, this is a very weird period of time with the banks and the way the asset managers are running everything. My experience and what I see them doing, again, you can get the homeowner whatever they want if it's just a cash to move out with, the HAFA program or otherwise. If you put it on the HUD and they approve it, which I've seen them approve some of the most outrageous things I've ever seen, like cash to close out. I've seen agents put on their HUDs, they want $5,000 for the homeowner to move out. And the banks are approving it. They want to do it.
Yes, they truly are. They are not very happy paying mitigation costs and negotiations. That's why we have partners like Behringer Escrow. And by the way, somebody was asking the spelling of the company. Is it Behringer or Behringer? Is B as in boy.
Yes.
So yeah, but they are very happy to pay homeowners. And since we now are seeing a big wave of homeowners that have been delinquent for 2 years or more, so they're really very happy to pay off these homeowners and get those properties moving and into the hands of a new homeowner. So they will give cash to these homeowners.
Yeah, and I want to make it clear why they're being so aggressive on short sales right now. They're expecting the market to go backwards again. Okay? Don't make any mistakes about this. They think the market's going to regress, that they're going to lose the value that they have. So they want to get the most value they can get right now. That's why they're being so aggressive, as they've been all summer. Agents left the short sale market, and the number of listings in offices dropped. If you look at it, the short sale market really took up a great deal of slack for people to get listings, and the number of listings has dropped because people went to go chase after equity-based listings. I'm not saying don't do equity-based listings. My question is always that's presented when I do a listing solution or event or one of my national events or even the 2-day event in Chicago is how do I get listings now? How do I get immediate results so that I have money by Christmas? So I have money by, I like to take the end of the year off. I don't like to work December and January. I tell my students I generally don't want to do coaching calls through December and January. They don't care. I don't care because it is the end of the year. Work on the files that you have. We'll start again on January 2nd, kind of thing. So to get to that point where you're comfortable, you got to go get listings this week. And everything that I've talked about, these programs that we put together, these events that we put together, the way the monster works, they're designed to get listings by the end of the week. These aren't, long, drawn-out campaigns. And right now, the banks are closing at a rate of about 45 days on average, 30 to 45 days. They're really cooking.
Now everybody woke up. As soon as I mentioned free leads, I see about 20 posts that are not real questions, but with a lot of question marks and where do you get free leads?
Control so you can show it?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it real quick. I wasn't prepared to do it, so I'm just gonna point to the right direction, and then I can follow up with each of you individually. But first of all, you gotta sign up for RealtyProx, which is free. You go to RealtyProx.com and sign up for free. Once you have your account, and this is my demo account, I wish I looked like this guy, so I put this picture. So this is my demo account. I don't have an enroll button because my demo account is already enrolled. But once you sign up, somewhere around here, you will see a button that says enroll. Click on that, follow on-screen prompts, and you will enroll in the LEAD program. Once you're enrolled in the LEAD program, you have to actually actively request leads. This is a process so we can control how much. And by the way, we do not assign the same lead to different people.
Are they seeing your screen? Because right now I'm not seeing your screen.
Are you not? It says on air showing screen, so I hope they can see. I hope so. If you got, I know it says I'm the presenter. So again, I will follow up with you and all of you who were on this call. I will send you the exact step-by-step directions how to sign up. But for those of you, hopefully, if you can't see the screen, so find the button that says enroll. That's the only one somewhere around here because this demo account is already enrolled. And once you enroll, click request leads. And if you're missing something, you're going to have to go to your account and enter your licensing information. And there's an emissions insurance. Once that is up, click request leads again. Select how many leads you would like. Doesn't mean you're going to get 20 leads. So I would say shoot for 5, 6, 7 at a time. And our lead manager will get your request. They will look what's available in your area. They will check it with MLS. In the next few days, you're probably going to get something. Then again, if you're in Louisiana, I just noticed we had a lot of requests later from Louisiana. We don't really have a lot of stuff going on in Louisiana. So is there a guarantee you're going to get 20 leads tomorrow? No. But this is free and this is public data. So again, if you're paying RealtyTrack, you should, and you should get RealtyTrack. But as a supplement, as something that you don't have to pay, you really should enroll in this program.
Oh my gosh, this is great. Well, and you're going to need like the file folder or the FedEx technique. Some of you can't afford the monster, and I completely understand. I would love to lower the price and make it available for everybody, but I can't. That's just the way.
You'll make those money back. So it's a nice loop here. You go to RealtyProx, you request your leads. You get your leads, you go to Lee. You use Lee's technique, you go back to RealtyProx. You dump those files to National Closing Center via RealtyProx. You go back the full circle again, and that's the only way to make money off of short sales. Not doing everything yourself, not knocking the doors, not cold calling.
Yeah, the one thing that I'm always amused by, because 2 weeks ago I went out and I was doing some tests with the monster. I actually used the product. I put up 7 pieces with a bit of a twisted, I changed the script a little bit, that I have on my squeeze. This all goes into a squeeze so I can get their email and their cell phone so I can get face-to-face. And it's a qualified, what you want is a qualified warm lead. So you have good data like you have here. I go put the monster in place, right? You should get about 2 appointments to go meet with homeowners with their cell phone and their email address if you've done it correctly. And that's what the monster does.
All right, a few more questions. I cannot believe you guys are staying. I hope you're enjoying this. As much as we are, where do you get FedEx envelopes?
I'm in a Kinko's right now. I'm in a FedEx office Kinko's right now. That's where I would get them, or you can go online and have them sent to you, or you can go to a Dropbox out in front of a building. They're free.
Yes, and Lee, isn't it true that FedEx is free since it's a private company, so you can use but you cannot use USPS. That's correct, right?
Correct. USPS is a federal government program.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that mistake, because I know a few real estate professionals that just thought it's more convenient. I don't know, there's no FedEx within a 3-mile radius, so they just went to USPS. Don't do that.
Correct. There's no way for them to dictate it. They give them away for free.
Yeah, and it's technically free marketing for them, so why would they complain?
Why would they complain? Right.
All right. Do you get preferential treatment by mentioning Lee? I'm not sure where. Oh, I'm getting. I think RealtyTrack.
Oh, yeah, you do. The only other person that I've heard that got the deal that I got, I'm not going to lie, CDPE has roughly the same kind of deal for $197 if you mention me. I just know that there's a piece that goes back to CDPE, and that's why they do it. I don't make any money from RealtyTrack. I don't make money from any of those sources. When I work with people, I work with them because I believe in the product. I always feel that if you are getting a piece of the action, you tend to drop your standards a little bit. You'll start to sell just about anything. It's not to say I'm against money. I'm not lowering the price below $697 for the monster. I've come up with payment programs. I've done other pricing structures, but I don't do what I do for free. I just, with RealtyTrack, I'm going to get $2 per sign up or whatever it is. I realize that if I have 100 or 200 or 500 people sign up, maybe it's worthwhile for an extra $1,000 a month. But in exchange, RealtyTrack has showed up to every one of my events. They send out emails and market and sponsor all of my events, and that's a pretty big company for me just being a private individual.
Okay, we need to get this question. Al is very persistent, so I keep missing his question. I'm sorry, Al. RealtyTrack versus Foreclosure Radar. What is the difference? Which one's better?
RealtyTrack, because it's free. If it works for your state, I was saying RealtyProx instead of Foreclosure Radar.
No, that was RealtyTrack versus Foreclosure Radar. Which is better? What's the difference?
RealtyProx would be my answer, but okay. They use the same data source, and they all come off of CoreLogic, and it comes through a stream. That's why Vlad's able to get it. It's a free data source that they all kind of chip off of. It's what they do with their programming that makes them unique. RealtyTrack has a better position. They cover more states, and I'll tell you why I like them a little bit better right now. Foreclosure Radar is limiting the number of downloads per month or something really wackier, the number of things you can download. RealtyTrack has never done that. I mean, you can't download all the data that they offer. So by that case, price-wise, RealtyTrack. I would still say RealtyProx, it's free. But you guys want 1,000 names to go send postcards, then you're going to need RealtyTrack or Foreclosure Radar. If you're going to use specific zeroed in, I'm going to go get a listing this week, to correct.
Yeah, in major metro areas, it's reasonable to request 10 leads, and you're going to get them eventually from RealtyProx. If you're going to go with 20, I had this one real estate agent in Chicago. We gave about 20, 30 maybe leads. Again, public data, nothing special, but still that's free for him. And he kept calling us and saying, no, this is not what I want. And by the way, you have an option. It's all automated. You have an option to accept or reject the lead. It all goes into our system. It's all tied in the RealtyProx. And if you want to learn more how exactly it works, sign up for one of the Thursday webinars. Go to RealtyProx.com, webinars and trainings. There are all the other types of webinars we have listed. So anyway, going back to this guy, so he was like, well, don't send me condos. I don't do condos. Don't send me this. I don't do this. He actually entered his, because you have to select your zip codes. Again, within reasonable radius. So he's like, well, don't send this zip code to me, even though he entered the zip code. So again, if you're going to be very picky, don't request leads from us, because we have actual people working and working specifically on your leads to narrow them down. This is not 100% automated. We have people who double check all the info for you. But if you're not super picky and you wish to give a shot to something that's public data using lease techniques, please do so.
Absolutely.
All right, payment program. Folks are asking about the payment program for Monster.
I do have a 2-payment program right now. 2 payments at $397. Yes, it's $100 more with the 2 payments. Again, I just did that last week because we were kind of having fun on my way out of town, and I wanted to see what was going on. But I did create a 2-payment link. If you email me at lee.honish@yahoo.com, I can do 2 payments of $397. Yes, you're paying more. I'm not gonna hide behind that. You are paying a little bit more.
All right. Wow, we've been on for almost 2 hours. You folks are amazing. I think most of the questions, we got them. If I missed something, it's absolutely my fault. But we will follow up with you individually if it's concerning Lee's products. He will get back to you, or Diana will get back to you. The very last question. Okay, promise. The real last question. What is the Monster Systems cancellation policy?
We don't have a monthly fee, so there is no cancellation policy. The only thing you'd need to cancel is, there's 2 things you need to be aware of. I use PayPal, right? So you can, within the first 30 days, if you think that I've been treating you unfair, you can click for a refund through PayPal, and they'll send something called a dispute to me. We do have a contract. I'm not out to short anybody, but I don't want anybody just paying to get on to get the product and then disputing and getting off. I don't operate that way either. With that said, that's number 1 way of protecting. Number 2, I do guarantee your results. If you don't get monsters, and currently we have 2 people within my program out of 400 that are having issues with the way the monster works. I have solved both issues. They were both with the way they were squeezing data and the way the homeowner contacted them. I've corrected it in both cases. They were errors on the way they were set up, and got them both back on track. So I don't have unhappy people. And I think I tell everybody, listen to one coaching call. These aren't unhappy people. These aren't planted shills by any stretch of the imagination. They don't go on Facebook. You know what they complain about on Facebook, and this just really did happen recently, that they get too many appointments. And that's not a joke, and that's not me just hyping it. I'm not, and we focus on working on getting your conclusion for you.
Okay, so I guess we're exhausted all the questions. Again, we will follow up. So all of you asking for specific links and things like that, Diana or Lee will get back to you with all kinds of links to Monster products, to leehonish.com website, honish.com website. Myself, I will follow up with you, send you invitations to the next webinars and RealtyProx training and how to get those coveted free leads from us. So we'll follow up with you, and thank you so much for being on this webinar for almost 2 hours. I believe that's my personal record. Lee, do you have anything else to add?
No, that's it.
All right, if that's it, thank you. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Let's keep in touch. Email us, call us. Let's do more short sales, close more short sales, help more homeowners, and make more money. Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye.